Stop stumbling around in the dark, turn on the light. That's my message today. Hey guys, Matt Tait here from Fork in the Road, your channel for transformation. As always, I'm looking at ways to help people to transform themselves, to grow, to move forward, to get themselves moving from that stuck place. And recently, a client was mentioning about how they were stuck. In particular, it was more about getting back on track. They just said, I want to get back on track. And, you know, they had a particular story about getting back on track. There'd been perhaps a breakup with the partner. And so now they're off track, and now they need to get back on track. And which is a wonderful metaphor for figuring things out. So here's a little thought process for you to help you if you're off track. And that is the very first question is, within NLP, within mindset training, within all of the coaching that I do, it's really one of the big factors is we all delete, we distort, and we generalize. So the first thing I picked up in that comment that I want to get back on track is how specifically. What are we even talking about? What are we talking about? Track, what track? What does on track mean? And being on track means that perhaps you were off track, right? So what are we talking about here? There's too much stuff missing. There's too much stuff that's deleted, right? So that's the first question I would ask someone. Okay, what was the track you were on? And was that the right track? Or was it the wrong track? And so some of the questions I was writing down as I was thinking about this video was, okay, what specifically is the track you were on? Number one. Now that's very what we call Virginia Satir, who was a family therapist in the 1980s, and she was one of the people that NLP was modeled off because she was getting incredible results with family therapy. And so they looked and studied her language patterns. And the language patterns, one of hers, if you want to get very specific and pull apart someone's generalizations, someone's deletions and their distortions, you can get very specific and say, what specifically was your track? It's a good question, isn't it? And so, what specifically is your track is a good question for the person to have to articulate it. Because they haven't articulated it, they're just off track. Well, how can you get back on track if you don't know what the track was? So that's the first thought, is using Virginia Satir and just getting very specific, very meta, very into the detail. Whoa, what are we talking about here? So that first step is specific. The second part of it is, well, hang on a minute, let's just take a step back here. Was the track, once you figure that out, whatever it is, maybe it was, you know, marriage, kids, and the whole thing that society sort of puts on us, which, look, a lot of that serves us, don't get me wrong. But in that context, perhaps that particular person that the relationship breakup was around, that wasn't the right track. And in particularly, if it wasn't serving you in that moment, if that track of that relationship, that specific relationship, may have been a disaster. I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't know the circumstances of all of that, but I just know that when I hear I'm off track because I'm not in a relationship, says that we can get you back on track by, let's actually build one. Let's build a better track. So the first thing is getting specific. What does on track mean? And let's assume it's relationships. The second one was, you know, well, was that track serving you? Was it a good thing or a bad thing? And so if it wasn't serving you, maybe we need a different track, which would then lead me down the path of thinking, does that person have an energy inside of them, something going on in their mental, you know, loop that's attracting the wrong partner? Perhaps let's deal with that first before we get back on track. So that's what I do in my mindset coaching. That's what I do in the life coaching I do, the NLP coaching, the just getting your mind, mastery over your mind so it doesn't do it to you again, because it will if you haven't cleared it up. So doing some of the internal work is what I love helping my clients do. And so you've got that figured out. That's awesome. So you want to get back on track. Back on track means relationship, but perhaps that relationship hasn't served you. And so the quantum question we love to ask as a coach is, what do you want instead? Off track? What do you want instead? It's a good question, isn't it? So if you've got to figure that out, what do you want instead? And this is the beginning of vision. I love vision because it lights people up when they actually turn on the switch. So instead of hating the darkness of being off track, you can turn on the light and the room becomes full of light. There are still shadows in that room. That's okay. But you can see and navigate the room. It's hard to navigate a room when the light is off and all is dark. And then you're just hating on the light, on the darkness, should I say. So turn on the light, have a look around, and navigate your environment. And what we'll do as human beings is we stumble around in the dark, pissed off. Stop stumbling around in the dark, turn on the light. That's my message today. If you're off track, turn on the light. So that is the message from that comment. I want to get back on track. Now there's a whole lot of ways you can get back on track, and there's a whole lot of ways you can turn on the light. Turning on the light means understanding yourself. So that's what I love, doing a value system, a value session with people, so they can get their top 10 or 20 or 50 values, things that are important to you. It might be, for me, it's growth, it's connection, it's respect. You give me those three, and I'll give up other things if you give me those three. I am lit up like a Christmas tree, and I understand the deal I'm making. So I want you to understand the deal you're making with yourself. If you say I'm off track, was that track given to you by your parents, given to you by your friends, given to you by your family, given to you by teachers or school or your society? Someone's given you that. Some of these service, some of them don't. So if you're off track, let's build a better track by understanding your values, understanding your beliefs, which then all flows through into your identity. Who do you think you really are? And so that will help you move forward, because that map of the world that you're given, we're all given it, we all have to deal with it. We're given a map of the world by society and our parents and everybody else around us, our whole communities, TV, the radio. We're given this map of the world. And a lot of it's actually rubbish, or some of it, not all of it. Some of it's useful. If something serves you, just roll with it. But the map of the world, if you beat yourself up because you're not meeting it, man, that is so destroying. This map, this imaginary, illusory thing that was made up is beating you up. Well, you're beating yourself up because you're not on it. This map that was the track. And the marriage thing is just one example. Don't get me wrong, it's all good, it's all positive. But if you're off that, let's build another track for yourself to help you get into a better place. And then that track may reappear again. You know, you may find a great partner if you change internally first. And that's what I help people do. With my mindset coaching, with NLP coaching, Ericksonian hypnosis, you know, life coaching, self-directed healing. I'm shifting that stuff, and it's just incredible how people shift when they get rid of that negative emotion that was trapped in their body. And they say within coaching, there's some three main things you're really doing with a client. Number one is you're shifting a limiting belief. There's some belief inside of them that you're helping them to shift and create a different one. The second one is that there's a trapped emotion, which fires off that limiting belief or fires off the negative thoughts. And we've got to get that out so they can start to experience the world differently. And the third one is a values conflict inside themselves. And there's things like parts integration and just a general values, you know, towards and away motivation, and all of those different things and tools within NLP, which are so useful. Oh my goodness. I can't tell you the things that changed my world when I started shifting my values. So those three things are what's going to help you move forward. And so I love helping my clients do it, and I'm developing programs for it. I'm developing different, sessions online to help people break through all of that and get through to the other side of developing their own internal map that they can follow that makes them happy. Sounds good, doesn't it? I hope that's helped. As always, like and subscribe the channel if you want more of the content, and I'll be doing more videos on a regular basis. I've got a lot of content written down. I'll be doing some more videos. And of course, if you want one-on-one coaching, feel free to reach out, send me a comment. I'll have my details in the link below, or in the comments below. And you can always reach out to me, send me an email, subscribe to the channel, and you'll get more of these videos, so you'll understand how you can shift internally first and then create a better map of the world second. Matt Tait from Fork in the Road and Fork in the Road Coaching, signing out for now. I hope you have a wonderful day and that this video has served you today.